All right, so today we're diving into something you might not expect. Um, the internet's reaction to Selena Gomez and Blanco's engagement.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's,
I've got a stack of articles here, some notes, and it's wild. It goes way beyond like your typical just celebrity news thing.
Yeah, it's true. The reactions have been so strong and a lot of times look
Yeah.
really negative, which is
Yeah,
interesting. When you think about it, it's just two people getting engaged.
totally. And that's what we're going to unpack. Why is this engagement causing such a firestorm online? I mean, you've got Selena. She's like a global icon, singer, actress, huge EE on social media.
Right.
And Benny, oh, okay, maybe less in the spotlight, but incredibly successful producer, songwriter, worked with everybody, Ed Sheeran, Eminem.
Oh, yeah.
You would think people would be like, yay, congrats.
Yeah, you'd think so, right.
Right.
But this is deeper than just like not liking somebody's music.
Exactly.
It's about how we relate to famous people in this like whole digital world.
Okay, so let's like get into the basics. This Forbes article, it lays it all out. Like the internet just exploded with memes when the news broke.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of them not very nice.
Not very nice. And that's where, we get into this concept of parasocial relationships.
Okay.
These are those like one-sided bonds that we form with people we see in the public,
Right.
often because of social media. You're
Yeah.
scrolling, you see their posts, it's their life, all curated, and you start to feel like you know them.
It's like you're getting this like inside look, even though it's totally one-sided.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's not necessarily bad. We all have people we look up to.
Yeah.
The trouble is when that like knowing crosses the line. When fans start to feel like they can comment on a celebrity's life as if they're like best friends or that they get to have a say in their choices.
And this is super interesting with Selena because she's been the most followed woman on Instagram multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking millions of people potentially in this dynamic.
Totally. And that's where these algorithms come in. They're designed to like keep us scrolling, keep us clicking. And sadly, the more extreme the reaction is, the more engagement it gets.
So wait, the wildest comments, even if it's like a tiny part of how everyone feels,
Yes.
those get boosted.
Yes.
It's kind of like how if there's a car crash on the highway, everybody slows down to look, even though most people are just trying to drive safely.
Such a good analogy.
Okay.
Like we end up with this warped view of what's real because the negativity seems way bigger than it is.
So it's not that everyone's hating on Selena and Benny, it's just that the algorithm is like, look at this drama, and making it the main thing we see.
Exactly. It's like an echo chamber. Certain opinions, usually the bad ones, they just get louder and louder. So it seems like that's the only way people feel.
Wow. So all those harsh memes and comments, maybe it's not what most people actually think. It's just what the algorithms choose to show us.
Exactly. And even if it's a small group of people being negative, it doesn't mean it can't hurt. Selena's talked about taking breaks from social media.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not hard to see why.
Yeah, I can't imagine having all those eyes on me, judging everything I do. It makes you think about how we all act online.
It really does, because even things that seem harmless, like just sharing a meme, they build up this culture of negativity and online bullying.
It's so true. It's like you wouldn't walk up to someone you don't know and make fun of their engagement ring.
Right.
But somehow online, it's different.
You're right. It's like we forget there's a real human on the other side of the screen.
And that is a really, really good point. Because Selena and Benny, yeah, they're famous, but they're also people with feelings. Those memes, even if they're supposed to be funny, they can still cause harm. We've got to remember that.
We do. And it's not just about looks either. The Forbes article, it also talks about memes focused on like how much money they each have.
Yeah, like comparing Selena's fortune to Benny's.
Yeah, it's that whole punching above his weight thing.
Come on.
Even though Benny is crazy successful on his own, these memes say he's not good enough for Selena because she's richer and more famous.
Which, by the way, ignores that he's worked with the biggest names in music. He's probably doing pretty well himself.
Exactly. But that's memes for you.
Yeah.
They take complicated things and make them simple, even if it's not true. It's like reducing people down to just one thing, which can be really harmful.
So we're not seeing them as people anymore, just like characters in a joke. Kind of sad.
It is. It shows we need more empathy online. To remember there's a real person behind the screen who might be hurt by what we say or do.
It makes you wonder, like, if we all paused before posting that snarky comment or sharing that meme, would the internet be a better place? Would it be nicer?
Such a good question. Because ultimately, we're all shaping what the internet is like. Every share, every comment.
So even the smallest things we do can have a ripple effect.
Yeah.
like a butterfly effect, but online.
Absolutely. And there's another thing in the article, memes that bring Justin Bieber into this, comparing Selena and Benny to his marriage with Hailey Bieber.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's like some fans are stuck in the past and trying to force their own stories onto this new relationship.
It's as if Selena can't be happy unless it's related to Justin. Like, she can't move on and find love with someone new.
And it totally disrespects her as a person.
Yes.
She's a grown woman, she makes her own choices, she finds her own happiness. But these memes are trying to fit her into this old narrative that's been around forever.
It's a classic example of how these parasocial relationships can really mess with our view of things.
Okay.
When we get too invested in a celebrity's life, we're more likely to judge and speculate.
We forget that we only see a tiny bit of their life, the parts they choose to show us. And we fill in the blanks with our own assumptions.
Exactly, and that's where it gets dangerous, because those assumptions, they might be based on nothing or our own biases, and they can lead us to conclusions that are just wrong and hurtful.
So how do we even handle being a fan online without falling into this trap of negativity and judgment?
It starts with being aware, knowing that these parasocial relationships exist,
Yeah.
understanding how they affect us, and being mindful of how our words can hurt others, even celebrities.
Maybe stepping away from the comment section sometimes. You can love someone's work without needing to comment on every single thing in their personal life.
Couldn't agree more. Sometimes the best way to support someone is to give them space to just live their life.
Without all the online noise.
Without the pressure, yeah.
So, as we move to the last part of our deep dive, the big question is, what can we learn from all of this? How can we, each of us, make the internet a better place?
Yeah.
It's interesting, right? Like all these little things, sharing a meme, it can build up to something bigger. We've talked about these parasocial relationships, the algorithms,
Yeah.
how they connect to this huge reaction to Selena and Benny's engagement. But like, for someone just scrolling through their feed, what's the takeaway?
I think the biggest thing is just being aware, knowing these things exist, these dynamics, how they make us act,
Yeah.
and realizing our words have power, even online.
It's so easy to forget there's a real person reading those comments. And yeah, celebrities, they seem like they're untouchable, but they've got feelings too, just like us.
Absolutely. And for me, this whole thing brings up some ethical questions about these parasocial relationships, especially now with social media. Like, are we crossing a line when we comment on their lives like we're buddies?
Yeah, are we? It makes you think, where's the line between just sharing an opinion and actually being hurtful? How do we figure that out online where everyone's got a voice?
It's tough. No easy answers.
Yeah.
But I think it starts with remembering our words matter. We have to use them carefully.
It's like that old saying, think before you speak. Maybe we need a version for the internet.
Right. But really, I think what we've seen in this deep dive is that we need more critical thinking online, more empathy, more awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. Because in the end, it's Selena and Benny's life. Whether we like their choices or not, they deserve basic respect, just like anyone else. It's about being kind, even if they're famous.
Well said. So, as we wrap up, I want you, the listener, to think about your own actions online. Do you get caught up in these parasocial bonds?
Yeah.
Do you do things online that you wouldn't do in person?
It's a good time to look at ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's our impact on the internet? Are we making it better or worse?
Exactly. And maybe if we all take a moment to think before we hit post, we can create an online world that's a little nicer, a little more thoughtful, a little more human.
Definitely something to think about.
Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring those interesting parts of the internet.
And remember, even online, our words have power. Choose them carefully. It's like we've been talking about all this stuff.
Yeah.
Parasocial relationships, algorithms, how they all play into this whole reaction around Selena and Benny.
Yeah.
But for the average person, like just scrolling on their phone, what's the thing to remember?
I think it comes down to awareness. Just knowing these dynamics are at play, understanding they can influence how we act online,
Yeah.
and realizing our words can actually have an impact even behind a screen.
It's so easy to forget.
Yeah.
Really, there's a real person on the other side of those likes and comments. And celebrities, I mean, they might seem untouchable, but they have feelings too, just like us.
Totally. And this whole situation, it makes me think about the ethics of it all. These parasocial relationships in this age of social media, are we crossing a line when we comment on their lives like we're their best friend?
Right. It makes you wonder, where is that line between just having an opinion and actually being mean?
Yeah.
How do we even figure that out online when everyone can say whatever they want?
It's tricky, right? There's no easy answer. But I think a good place to start is remembering that our words have weight. And we have to use them carefully.
Yeah. It's like that old saying, think before you speak. But we need like an internet version of that.
Totally. And honestly, I think this whole deep dive, it shows us we need to be more critical online, more empathetic, more aware.
For sure. Because at the end of the day, it's Selena and Benny's life.
Yeah.
Whether we like their choices or not, they deserve respect. Just like anybody else, it's about kindness, even when it comes to celebrities.
Perfectly said. So, as we wrap up, I want you, the listener, to think about your own actions online. Do you find yourself getting caught up in these parasocial bonds? Do you do things online that you wouldn't do face to face? It's a good time to look inward, right? What kind of impact are we having on the internet? Are we making it a better place? Or are we adding to the negativity?
Yeah, it's a good time for a little self-reflection.
Exactly. And maybe, just maybe, if we all take a second to think before we post, we can create an online world that's a little kinder, a little more thoughtful, a little more human. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring those interesting corners of the internet.
And remember, even in the digital world, our words have power. Choose them wisely.